Hello and welcome to Cyberwhite Gaming, and this is a first for our channel. It's going to be our first top 10, and this is our Halloween special for 2021. Happy Halloween if you're listening. And the top 10 we're going to be doing today is, since the announcement of Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreaker earlier in the year, I've been really wanting to do a video covering it. We're currently doing a walkthrough of Monster Hunter Rise on this channel as we speak. A new video should be out today, and like most Monster Hunter installments, Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreaker is following the path of Iceborne and Generations Ultimate by being an expansion. So Sunbreaker is going to have a lot of new features, a lot of new gimmicks towards the game, and we're going to do a top 10 features that I hope are in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreaker. Number 10. The Variations of the Rampage. Monster Hunter Rise's big gimmick, aside from the wild bugs, is the Rampage. A Rampage is basically tower defense with Monster Hunter in it, so it will make sense that the expansion to Monster Hunter Rise expands upon this concept. Now, how can we expand upon this? So what I mean by that is the variations in the maps. Currently, Monster Hunter Rise only has one Rampage map as far as I can tell, and it's just it's linear and horizontal. What I'm thinking of is a Rampage map that actually splits off multiple directions and rejoins at the last gate, therefore giving each Rampage a new experience and a new flavour to it. So you don't get too bored with the Rampage, because admittedly when I'm farming stuff on Rise, I get bored of the Rampage, I'm not gonna lie. Another idea I had regarding the Rampage would be a more vertical map. Now, how do we implement a vertical map regarding the Rampage? I was thinking more like a tower. Since this game seems to be going for a bit more of a Western mythology theme, I was thinking like dragons in a tower. That is used in several pieces of fiction like Lord of the Rings, and for lack of a better comparison that comes to mind, Shrek. So I was just thinking, if we had to protect something at the top of a tower, or the monster trying to get something at the top of the tower and we had to defend the tower from them going up it, it's an unlikely idea, but I think that would add great variety to the game. So that's our number 10. On to number 9. Number 9, a new village. Why would we bother with a new village, you say? Well, that's because the new villages, and the villages in general, give a certain aesthetic to every game. Because the villages are where you come back to every hunt to either get gear, eat, or change equipment, or train your Pelagos and Palamutes. They are integral parts of the game and they're highly underrated. So why not introduce a new village? You could build a lot more new features into the village, and it would also just be a nice change of pace in comparing Sunbreaker to Rise. But yeah, that's number 9, a new village, maybe some new characters in that village, you never know. On to number 8. Number 8, a third wire bug. Now this is going to be quite contentious, but what I'm believing here is that usually when we start the hunt, we have 2 wire bugs to begin with. We could pick up a third during the hunt. I think that third wire bug should just be there by default. It would also lean itself to master rank, increasing the difficulty of the game. So therefore I believe this third wire bug could also be a sign of escalation in the threat, because it would also give Capcom a lot more wiggle room for them to create crazy new attacks of the monsters, because there's a higher chance of us avoiding it. So yeah, new third wire bug by default. On to number 7. Number 7, new monsters. The monsters are the lifeblood of Monster Hunter as a franchise. So when I say new monsters, I believe that they should be based off the Western mythology Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreaker is going on. So things like werewolves, we've got a vampire in the new flagship. Just imagine, we have a kraken monster in Narcos, but why not have more octopuses? So yeah, it would just be really interesting to see what new monsters this game could cook up, especially with the mythological setting it's going with. Speaking of which, on to number 6. Number 6, new subspecies for the Rise roster. Monster Hunter Rise have one of the most colourful and unique rosters of monsters. So when I say new subspecies, I believe that they should get upgrades or aesthetic changes. Just for example, Bishan, one of the new Fanged Beast wyverns in Monster Hunter Rise, he had a habit of throwing fruits. And there was also a new feature implemented called the Elemental Beetles. Wouldn't it be cool if instead of fruits, he threw elemental beetles at us? therefore prioritizing an elemental resistant armor to combat him. I would just think that would be a nice wee twist on his gimmick. Also, I believe something like, maybe since we're going for a western theme, maybe a Jason Voorhees Gosarag. That's my best bet for him, but if we're going to go for mythology, also maybe a Sasquatch or Bigfoot aesthetic for Gosarag. I mean, you're obviously an abominable snowman, but still, we can go for more. But number 6, new subspecies for the Rise roster. They deserve it. Number 5, a good story. Monster Hunter is kind of like a certain brand of adult movies I'm not going to mention on this YouTube channel, but because of that, you don't really play them for the plot. So what I'm referring to here is that hopefully this game has a decent story. I mean, it'll be a nice complement to the base game, which already has a pretty good story. So, also I've noticed something regarding the release trailer. The new flagship, which I cannot remember its name, seems to be consuming Rathalos, and we don't know if this is only exclusive to Rathalos, but it reminds me a lot of the final boss in Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin. So maybe they're going to take some aspects of that story and put it into this Sunbreaker DLC? You never know. All I can say is just hopefully we get a good story out of this, but fingers crossed. On to number 4. Number 4, give the cast something to do. I'm not kidding, Monster Hunter Rise has to have one of the most dull human casts in any game I've ever played. I know Monster Hunter isn't known for their most intriguing roster of characters, but compared to Monster Hunter World, these guys are hitting the snooze button every 5 seconds. Like, say what you want about the Handler, but at least she got involved in the story. Say what you want about the Admiral, but at least he got involved in the story as well. This cast never did anything. The only exception I can give is Minoa and Hinoa. Minoa and Hinoa, I think that's how you say their names, because they seem to be channeling Nawa and Ibushi, so at least they had something to do. But the rest of those guys, they just fell into the background. They only served their one purpose in life, then you forget about them. But hopefully Sunbreaker could do something to that character and get them more involved in the story of the game, or at least with some of the monsters. I mean, the Handler and World always got in trouble with the monsters, and we remember her delightfully. Right, Monster Hunter fanbase? Right? We like the Handler? Oh. Number 3, an explanation on Nawa and Ibushi. What's up with Nawa and Ibushi? I get that basic premise of Nawa has to eat Ibushi to procreate and absorb his energy by looks of it. What I don't get is basically, in the introduction segment, or the haiku part of the monster's introduction, whatever we call that intro sequence, it seems to be that Nawa is insistent on the destruction of the world. Why? What is wrong with this Nawa? Why is she nuts? What is the difference between this Nawa and all the other Nawas that came before her? Why? Just some explanation. Is this Nawa insane? That's all I want to know. What's going on here? Of all Nawas like this? I don't know. On to number 2. Number 2, a good final boss. Let's face it, the flagship on the box art is not going to be the final boss. It's the Volcana of the game, it's the Magnamalo of the game, it's Lagiacrus of the game. Let's face it, you're not fooling anyone, Capcom. You've got some giant kaiju level monster waiting for us behind some rocks or something, and we're gonna kill the flagship, and it's gonna be a case of, oh, it's a prelude to the storm, but all I can hope is that this is more like Nawa and Ibushi, and less like Shara Isvalda. So hopefully we get a good final boss, a good scrap, and on to number 1, which is going to be completely random to these guys, so on to number 1. Number 1, give Magnamalo some love. Why am I giving so much attention to Magnamalo? Because it is my new second favorite flagship. Now it is only under Lagiacrus and Monster Hunter flagship rankings. And hopefully in Sunbreaker it can get a variant of a subspecies where it essentially rises above Lagiacrus in my rankings. In this game, you could easily go for like a ghostly samurai look, which is already what it's kind of based off of, but imagine a Magnamalo with like blue flames, more armor, maybe change the weapon on its tail, maybe give it a bigger head crest, maybe make it silver instead of gold in some areas, I don't know, but just give it the Ruina no Gigante treatment and flesh out its lore a wee, because in Rise, it sort of felt like an outside context problem because of Nawa and Ibushi, because Nawa and Ibushi caused the rampage. What makes Magnamalo so special? If he not caused the rampage, why is Magnamalo the flagship? He deserves some love, he deserves a new subspecies, he deserves to be an Elder Dragon ranking, or at least give him a Deviant. Come on Capcom, give Magnamalo some love. Anyway guys, thank you for watching this video. Put down some feedback in the comments. I'm trying to develop my skills as a video editor right now, so any feedback is good feedback. Please keep it constructive though, please. I've got a very weak heart. But thank you for watching this, and see you in the next video. Peace!